Good morning, everybody. Welcome to What's on Deadline TeamStream. Thanks for spending your Friday morning with us. We appreciate your sitting tight and holding with us. We were starting a little late today because Hasbro went a little long, and that's always a good thing. I'm Mike Irizarry. With me, the honcho Mark Weber. Mark, how are you? How are you this morning?
I'm good. How you doing?
We're hanging in there, man. I had to get up, had to get showered and ready early today. I'm not happy about that.
Showers are overrated. Wear a hat. I'm not saying, but
I would, but like I got a giant head and too much hair, so that like hats are like I got a bucket I could put on my head that might fit.
Your hair is totally in control with the use of the headphones. I just wonder if you.
Yeah, because I only showered about an hour ago, so it's still kind of wet and still weighed down by the mass on my my head. My neck is straining every waking moment these days.
Do you have to wear the headphones out in public to keep the hair in check?
I do. It's thankfully it's got a little plug thing. I can just kind of pop it into my phone, and it just looks like I'm taking Spotify way too seriously.
So when you're going out, it's like keys, wallet, phone, headphones, glasses, mask, and you're good?
I think so.
All right.
I mean, I leave the wallet home a lot because there's nothing in it anyway. But
how are you going to buy the dime box of C-Nugs with no wallet?
I get the 100 box of C-Nugs from the Walmart is what I do.
Now you're talking.
Eat them at home.
and then you got to go buy sweet and sour sauce from McDonald's at $0.25 a pop.
Something like that. I think it's only a dime, but the McDonald's here is real good about giving out spares. So extra even from the last spot where I ate my dime box of C-Nugs.
If they only cost a dime, then they literally are a dime box of sweet and sour sauce.
But speaking of C-Nugs, our third host, Jo Colton, she's paying the cost to be the boss, so she can't be with us. She's at work.
Yeah, so that whole I got a job thing, whatever.
Well, loser. Anyway,
hey, the Colton, funny thing, that makes her the black sheep around here, huh?
Right. Yeah, Jo Colton has professional commitments, so she cannot be with us today. And in her stead, we have drafted Racktime Rob. Racktime Rob.
Now we're talking.
TeamStream.
Oh, damn. I'm outnumbered.
Just for the record, I have a job. It's just summer break.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Educators. What kind of job is that?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Job. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They give you off 3 months a year. That's not working.
Hey, all of a sudden, a lot of parents are very, very pro teacher, right? Take my kids back.
Yes.
They've been home so long.
Yes. Basically, that started by about hour 2 of the first day of distance learning.
Yeah, that did not take long. I don't.
We
started getting one's in detention and one's already expelled. Back to school, please.
I gotta say, man, when I was a kid, distance learning meant ditching class, right?
Getting expelled from homeschooling is pretty tough. That's a rough spot.
Right, get out.
Distance learning was you were the kid who was they moved your desk into the hall because you couldn't stop fidgeting, something
That's
like that.
Right.
We were raised in the days before Ritalin.
Yeah.
Or probably we were at the dawn of Ritalin. I actually did know a couple of kids who were on Ritalin, but it did help them out even back then. So whatever. Anyway,
yeah, we had one kid. His name was Garth, which was ironic, 20 years early.
Please tell me he hung out with a kid named Wayne.
Right? We didn't even know that would be cool at the time, right?
At the very least, he was matching up with all your Garth Orge baseball cards.
Now we're talking.
Wow. We're the utility infielder button early in this last TeamStream here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's make sure we get a good baseball G.I. Joe mix here, right?
That's right.
We don't want to throw the fans a curveball.
Speaking to all of our Garth Orge fans up in the Great White North. Might just be Joe Colton on that one.
I'll take middle of the road Toronto Blue Jays for 300, Alex.
Right? Yeah. Garth didn't even make the Blue Jay roster I put together. He got Kelly Grubered.
Oh man, Kelly Gruber.
Weber's going on his baseball sim again, so it's definitely time to get started. So,
anyways,
the week we're here, we are fresh out of the Hasbro Pulse live stream, and we're glad everybody tuned into that. They did have some reveals, and we'll get some reactions from our team of specialists here in a moment. But we saw the initial offering of the G.I. Joe Retro line, which involves 3 single figures. It would be Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, and the Baroness. 2 vehicles, Hiss Driver and an Ostriker. The Hiss Driver the Hiss Tank does have a driver, and the Ostriker does come with crankcase. So 5 characters all said and done. They are not in the O-ring style, which was probably the first wave there of what we could see from comments, the discontent. So Mark Weber, your feelings there on the choice to go with the 25th anniversary modern build for these figures?
I mean, there's, from my time at Hasbro, I know there's not a lot of old tooling available. So I don't know if O-ring was ever even a possibility, but it certainly was. It was what the most vocal aspect of the Joe Collector fan base was asking for, just because, the O-ring guys haven't been served with anything in ages. And when you hear retro line, for a line that this version of Joe goes back to 82, I think people, I don't know if they assumed, but they certainly hoped that there would be that since this seemed to be a small slice, that maybe it would be O-ring. And, I think the prevailing sense I think you'll get out there will be disappointment from the fans that hoped for it so much. And, not that this is better or worse or wrong, but by labeling it retro and then waiting forever to give any kind of inkling about it, I think it let that speculation lead to even more intense disappointment. So I think you're going to hear from a very vocal and upset portion of the fan base today. Yeah.
I mean, part of it is that, the rule is we should never assume. But the other part of it is something could have been drifted out there and said, hey, these are not O-ring figures like you're hoping. A little bit of a heads up would not have ruined any of the reveals today.
No, even if they'd have just said that, as dressed up as possible at the Toy Fair video, to say we are going to have some 4-inch scale, even saying 4-inch scale would have let you know, because the 25th anniversary is a little bit taller. And we will have info for that in the coming months. I thought that was a huge miss at Toy Fair. Because when I don't know if you can say announced the classified line, because so much of it had broken before that, but to say, yes, we will have some exclusive product for our 4-inch collectors, it would have let people understand a little better what was coming. And they didn't address it at all, which I thought was a gigantic miss. And that helped lead to the wait, which led to more speculation and more anticipation that has disappointed one section of the Joe Collector base today.
Yeah, a good comment from our friend Hooded Cobra Commander 788. When other lines are called retro, they get actual retro G1 re-releases, and that's not what's happening here.
No, I think that's, if there's one big miss, it's labeling it retro, right? Because it's not that retro. Even what they showed with little clips, when they were showing little clips from the Sunbow animation, they showed the Baroness in the blue outfit that we haven't seen her in very much as the tease. They showed radioactive Snake Eyes. And even though we've gotten that figure before, each time I thought, oh, these are going to be, at least if they're 25th, the deco is going to be retro to the original cartoon, but it isn't. It's, new, it's different takes on the classic look. So, and while I appreciate that they are a little different, So there is some newness there, and it looks like maybe new heads. It doesn't really fulfill the idea of retro, which is how they chose to pitch these exclusives.
Racktime Rob, we're used to you commenting on the comic books, but here's your chance to shine.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting retro would have been O-Ring, because everything else that Hasbro has, like Hooded Cobra Commander said, everything else that Hasbro's done retro has been the original, just a re-release of the original toy. Mm-hmm. Now it's possible that those molds are basically long gone. I mean, I knew those molds came back in the late 90s, but that's still a long time ago, so that they could be gone. Or maybe they just decided that rubber band's just gonna rot out after a couple years, and maybe that's just not the way they want to go anymore. But so to call it retro from that respect is misleading. And plus two, the only one that has a costume similar to their original figures, the Baroness, that's the Pursuit of Cobra Snake Eyes, and that's the Renegade Storm Shadow. So,
true.
Which don't look like their package art.
Yeah, or not. Anyways, not the version of it that they're trying to get. But yeah, it's retro from the standpoint of like 2012 is retro, which I guess it's not, because that was only 8 years ago. But what can you do? I will say it looked like the high spot for this were the drivers. Looks like that that we are getting the Hiss Tank driver with the Hiss Tank, and we are getting a crankcase with the Ostriker. And it looked like there was some different tooling involved with both of those figures.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting new heads, I think, on all 5 figures. Maybe not Snake Eyes, but it looked like there's a little bit of new tooling involved. I thought the Hiss Tank driver looked outstanding.
Yeah.
Compared to what the previous one looked like, yeah, he looks amazing. He doesn't have that rickety Flash torso that has Mark Webber.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, the no sell.
Put up there on a tee.
I don't know.
Oh, man, I feed one like that. Look what happened. I'm
not picking up what you're putting down. No, it's got the full vest, right? Over the front. You have a beautiful Cobra logo right in the middle of it. It looks outstanding. So you're gonna have to buy a lot of Hiss Tanks, though, right? You can't even do that math. I can't buy enough Hiss Tanks to get drivers for my old crappy 3 3/4 brutal chest cut Hiss drivers.
We're going seriously retro there. We got psychedelic sounds from Mark Webber. Check your connections, Honcho. Check your connections. But I got you on mute at the moment. But Rob, we'll turn to you. Check your thoughts on the Hiss driver and crankcase, who look like the unexpected stars.
Yeah, I sent you a message, kind of jokingly said, I wonder how many people are going to be ordering the Ostriker just to get the crankcase figure stand, because that when they re-released that originally back in the day, they didn't have the figure stand in there.
Yeah, when it was the old Target exclusive, yeah, there weren't any.
Yeah,
stands with those.
Remember those Target exclusives were $9 at like $10.
Yeah,
for vehicle and figure. Yeah, but the vehicles look good. They've got the nice box art that they're cranking out from the originals. The Hiss Tank, like I said, the Hiss Tank. If I'm ordering anything out of this, it's probably the Hiss Tank. You can't have enough Hiss Tanks.
Well, I can prove that yes, you can. But at the same time, this one looks different. It looks a little blockier, looks a little chunkier, looks a little heavier. Going to have to see it in hand to confirm that, but it did not look exactly the same as the previous Hiss Tanks, and I think that's actually a plus. Like, if you're going to give me a black Hiss Tank again, it needs to be a little bit more different, right?
It did seem a little bigger, but I don't know if that was just a just because where he was holding it up to the camera, or
could be. I don't know the Mark gentleman from the Hasbro video personally. He may be 4'6", and just looks that much bigger. by scale. But it's again, if there was a highlight, and I almost hate myself for saying this because I have so many HISS tanks at this point. If there was a real highlight, it was the HISS tank with the new driver and the bigger treads, potentially bigger treads.
I have a real hard time believing they tooled up a new vehicle for the exclusive.
You're right. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not gonna play that it's not. I'm just telling what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a question we can throw Hasbro's way. Now that it's been revealed, maybe they'll answer some questions for us.
I mean, the only reason I would see for retooling an old vehicle and keeping it basically exactly the same, other than maybe dimensions, is if the 4-inch figure doesn't fit in the cockpit. But the HISS tank cockpit is pretty roomy, and you can just bend the guy's knees if you need to jam a 4-incher in there.
Yeah, that wasn't. I mean, it wasn't a big issue when they re-released it. So
Yeah.
pretty easily. There's some background noise on this end. This is the time of the week where St. Louis County does its air raid test.
Nice.
So,
We're doing the same thing, the tornado drill. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's authentic military. We got an air raid siren. You mean to tell me Rhode Island
team streaming again.
Rhode Island is the only safe place to be. We got air raids. We got freaking tornadoes.
Somebody stop what's on Joe mind.
Oh no. 9 years and this is the end. Tornado air raid. And the honcho is the last man standing.
They had to do it when I show up?
Right? Hey, wait a minute. This stinks of a Joe Colton setup, right? Yeah, we're all together and then bam. Right?
Curse you, Joe Colton.
This is Operation Throat Punch.
Really, there's no. It's only a compliment when you have a show for 9 years, and they decide to, like they're going to take you out with the airstrike. Like that's all they've got left is air support. So good for us. Yay, team.
It's because I told people to vote.
Yeah, see? Keep your politics out of it, Rob.
Telling people to participate in our democratic republic, you jerk.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, I got one big problem with everything we saw, right? And not just because it doesn't match what the original figure had, but how you giving Storm Shadow a white belt? That's the symbol of beginner in martial arts, right?
Yeah.
So it's Padawan Storm Shadow. It's first day of class Storm Shadow. And even because Storm Shadow is a mainly white colored figure, hits of color help break that up a little bit. So maybe give the Ninja Master a black belt. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's a big deal, but visually when you're looking at that figure, there's not a lot there.
No.
I thought they left it off until I noticed, the tie coming down on the side.
Yeah.
I'll give Storm Shadow this. He's almost worth it just to get all the gear. And I know I have all the gear from previous releases, but you get all that stuff again.
Yeah.
You're getting it all fresh, plus a figure for probably less than you would get just the gear for by spending on eBay. So
that's true.
There's that.
Well, and I like that. I think who showed the Sai had painted handles, which, when you paint the handle or paint the blade, it takes an edged weapon through the roof compared to, the all black sword the one thing that made me giggle was the nunchucks he was holding. Not only that he was holding them incorrectly for nunchucks, but they looked like they had about 3 feet of cord between them, right? Like there's no way not to whip your own ass with a nunchuck with that much string in between. So seems like it seems like hazing almost, to take the first day of class white belt karate kid and give him nunchucks with 3 feet of cord in the middle and go, spin him around. See what happened.
Go on.
My note.
Wraps
Yeah,
around his head twice and bonks him in the side of the face.
That gi isn't going to be white for very long, man. I'm telling you.
Those are the new social distancing nunchucks. You just spin them in front and
Right. Keep people away.
Gotta be this far away.
I do think you want to give them some pub for the packaging, even though it's a little odd that the absolute, G1 art that they're using doesn't necessarily match the figure that's in there. And even though they were all diced up to be, I think, 5 language matching, they do actually have file cards on the back, right? And I didn't get a quick shot, just thought of this. They had the little thumbnail images of other characters on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I saw Scarlet, right?
Scarlet, Roadblock, and Destro.
Okay, so I would assume those would be the next 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the rumor anyway. Yes, but
I love
the source of that particular rumor was right on everything to this point. We can probably take that with some value.
So seeing what seemed like a very vintage, the most retro thing we saw today was the card back, and I mean everybody loves the Garrido art, so seeing that out again will be really cool. Real interesting on the Ostriker though, right? Looks like Gung Ho's chest tattoo, totally airbrushed out now, right?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. I noticed the change in the beard for a crankcase, but
yeah. Now I guess that's better than putting his new tattoo on the old art, but even still seemed a little sad.
Well, it's Gaucho from Action Force,
right?
That's why there's no tattoo to be seen. It's
even Gaucho wears a Marine hat. Just cover. See,
yeah.
I screwed it up too.
Cover.
Hats are for civilians.
and Army apparently.
Who gets the term lid? Anybody get the term lid?
The mall.
Yeah, exactly right. If you're gonna leave the brim flat and leave the gold sticker up here, that's a lid.
Yes.
Because it doesn't look like a hat. There's my get off my lawn Clint Eastwood speech for the day.
Like your grandpa.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I would encourage everybody to go back, watch the Hasbro live stream once we're done. If you missed that, they did talk to Flint Dilley a little bit, former guest of our program way back in the day. But just a nice get to know you few moments with Flint Dilley, who's always a good interview. Has a lot to say about his time. You want to catch our interview with him, go back in our archives, and we go into a little bit more depth on much of the same material. I think I did that interview with Chuck. I think that's how far back we're going with that one. Yeah, anyways. But and then the last reveal was part of the classified line, and this was pretty cool, I thought. But it was the what do my notes say? Snake Supreme Cobra Commander, which is your Cobra Commander, like as we've seen him in a black and red deco, but lots of neat extras on that figure, and it makes that uniform make a little bit more sense, honestly.
Yeah,
because it's very, very dressed down, very, very proper, very, formal. And it doesn't really work for me on the Battlefield version of Cobra Commander, but in this version, it works for me very much. Not to mention, they gave him that great cape.
Yeah.
6-inch Cobra Commander with a soft goods cape with a faux snake skin on the back. That's incredible.
And his hair dryer.
Gave him the good pistol, and they gave him the snake scepter, like we were talking about the last time. That's us making a difference right there, right?
Right, yeah. We had everything to do with that.
That was all us. As always, all of you, thank What's on Joe Mind. What's on Joe Mind. Thank us with a like and a subscribe and a share. How about that? We'll make it easy. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Make us a thing here on the YouTubes. But anyways, Honcho Mark Weber, your first thoughts on Supreme Snake. I gotta check it. Snake Supreme Cobra Commander.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what a Comic-Con exclusive should be, which is what it was supposed to be, right? It's your first chance to get the figure in hand. It's different and cool and unique, but not so representative of a comic look or an iconic look that people would be furious that they can't get it at retail. The cape is amazing. The packaging is outstanding. The lone criticism really that I have of it, other than the brutal chest cut, but you know, you can only cook with the groceries in the kitchen.
That's standard at this point.
Yeah, is the hairdryer pistol is fantastic. It is such a big part of what made Cobra Commander. And obviously it isn't too legitimate firearmy to be prevented from being in the line. And it's obvious they're working under some constraints about what the weapons can look like. But I thought that was a huge miss on the Cobra Commander figure, is not going with the iconic hairdryer, because it's one of the iconic weapons excuse me, that seems like it falls in the safe zone of sci-fi enough. So the fact that they're doing it but only putting it in an exclusive is, I think, a huge miss. I love that there's some uniqueness to it. For the snake saber and the globe is a great touch, but to show off the exclusive that should be coming with every version of Cobra Commander, I think is a bad miss.
Yeah, the one classic G.I. Joe gun that is legitimately a blaster.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not there. We got the weird flintlock, almost X-rated pistol that the regular version came with.
I was going to say, don't say it.
No,
you can think it. We're all thinking it. Don't say it. But yeah, to say it would be a totally different thing to say, look, there's things they can't do. That's why I'm not, you know, I get that they can't do Gung Ho's chest tattoo, not the way it was. And, you know, if they can't do it, then they have to find another way around it. And this is one that I think we had all just kind of shrugged our shoulders and said, well, it's so obvious they must not be able to do it. But it looks like they actually can do it. And they chose to take one of the most iconic Joe accessories and only put it in an exclusive item.
And he's got a holster for it.
Yeah, that's a mistake. It's a miss.
Yeah, although I'm not going to hang up Sneak Supreme Cobra Commander on that because he's outstanding. That's just a that's another flaw from the previous wave that we've already done to death. Rob, your thoughts on Snake Supreme?
That's like I said, if that was painted in blue, that was the Cobra Commander that should have gotten like the regular release. It's a great figure. It's a great looking figure. I mean, love the fact that he's coming with the hairdryer. They simplified the belts. He doesn't have like this thing going across the chest anymore. It looks like it's a real belt. The cloth goods cape, I mean, is always good. Holding a globe. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's all kinds of just great, fun, neat stuff with that. And even if you take the gear from that figure and apply it to, put it with your other Cobra Commanders, it works there too.
Yeah.
Nice point, like you said, with the cape and the loss of some of the straps that go across his chest. I said it about Cobra Commander when they revealed it the first time, was that if you took a couple of elements away from that figure, it works a lot better.
Yeah.
And that's almost what they did on the figure itself here. And it looks pretty darn good.
I mean, that was
Flash in the right spots and then took away where they didn't need all that extra junk. Yeah.
I mean, that was my biggest criticism of the original Cobra Commander was, why are they covering up the Cobra logo? And by taking off that kind of 3/4 cape with the straps, it helps. Now he's still got, the chain wallet thing going across it, but you can't change that. And I wouldn't, you don't want to sink the logo to a weird spot. And again, there's a cut there that you don't want to split the logo in half by. So,
give him a cool ab tattoo. That's what they need.
Right. Go shirtless. Go shirtless.
Yeah.
Give him a big Cobra tattoo.
He doesn't twist. He doesn't twist at that cut, so he wouldn't really cut it in half. But
it's can use the Cobra's mouth for his belly button. It'll work. It'll work. We can make that happen. So, Mark, we'll give you your general thoughts on what happened today. Then we'll give Rob a turn, and then we'll give it a little audience Q&A.
I mean,
Mark, your feelings on today's reveal.
there's nothing wrong with what we saw today. We'll wait and see if Walmart can deliver a collector exclusive product, which has always been, a problem and a frustration for fans. So we'll see how the execution comes out. But what they showed, it's cool. I mean, I'm in. I think most fans probably are, because we're starved for product, and certainly for 4-inch product. I think the misses here, and they're all avoidable, is they should have been clear about this from jump, all the way back from Toy Fair, that it was a 4-inch, line, which would have kept the O-ring diehards from holding out hope. And the longer you hold out hope, the madder you are when you're disappointed. So the O-ring folks are going to be really mad today, because you can't say bait and switch, but by delaying the info this long, they held on tighter and are madder now that the rug got pulled out from them. So I love it.
They feel that the rug got pulled out on them at all.
Right. But I love the vintage art that they're using. I love the file cards. File cards are so important, and hopefully that can lead to some kind of a resurgence. I just got in some of my classified figures, the Scarlet, today, and what struck me is how empty the packaging is. It's slick, it's cool, but there ain't nothing on there to inform you at all about G.I. Joe, about what this is or who she is or why she's awesome. It's just, splashy artwork. So I love that the file card is back. I think the Hiss tank driver is the best thing we saw today. And the Cobra, Snake Supreme Cobra Commander is pretty much exactly what an exclusive should be. And if you get the chance to order it via Pulse, I guess we don't say an advantage of the virus, but you don't have to go to San Diego to get it, and you don't have to pay scalper prices to get it off eBay. So you'll have the chance to get an exclusive, I assume, at a reasonable rate through the Pulse, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, however many thousand they were going to be shipping out to San Diego to sell first, well, that spot in line isn't there.
Yeah,
so if you really like that one, it is going to be a bit more available to you.
And it went by fast. I want to make sure they get credit for making that a Pulse exclusive and not giving it to the network app that you deleted off your phone in a rage a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I guess, and that's another thing. Just we want to give it a couple days to make sure the images they showed of this Cobra Commander are actually what they're planning to ship.
They have until mid-September to straighten that out. So
I guess that's true.
It could be the Action Force Red Laser variant that sneaks in there, and I don't know. Anyways,
they can't do an Action Force variant.
No, they can't. Can they?
No, they can't.
They can do a shadow. That's more what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Nod to Bobby, who made his presence felt in the live stream chat, asking for a Sergeant Slaughter. That was some A-level trolling.
You don't think Bobby would sue Hasbro if he got the chance, do you?
No. He's not bitter. That's
you know what?
The thing there is he's not bitter.
And he's totally consistent. So I always respect that.
There's a respect to be had for predictability in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it's like when Paul Orndorff would turn on somebody and you're like, he's Paul Orndorff. Of course he's going to stab you. Like Bobby is always there to give Hasbro a boot.
So, Rob, your takeaway on today's reveals.
I mean, regardless of them not being like those original O-ring figures, those are still, all three of those figures were still cool figures. So if you don't have them already, I mean, definitely go out and buy them. I mean, it was an outstanding Storm Shadow when they released it. It was an outstanding Snake Eyes when they released it. It was an outstanding Baroness when they released it the first time. those are still like the definitive looks, for those figures. So those characters. So definitely go that. I'm probably ordering myself a His Tank. Definitely, probably ordering that Cobra Commander when he comes up in September.
Yeah, that's anybody looking for that Cobra Commander today. You're not going to have any luck. September is that was the date they threw out there for that. Probably the same time as several of the Transformers exclusives that they revealed today in that too. But we're not here to talk about that stream, unless somebody in the audience wants that in a minute or two. I'm with you on this one. I think part of this is we've been doing this show for long enough now, and I've been involved with this show long enough now, that my expectations are always a little bit tempered with product reveals. So I can honestly say that my hopes weren't that high going in, simply from having to cover so many of these. It's like you're not going to get your socks blown off on a last minute Friday reveal in the middle of July. Like that's not going to happen anyway. The context isn't there for this to be just some huge, earth-shattering, paradigm-shifting kind of reveal. But at the same time, it's a little disappointing that those remakes, they're remakes of pretty recent figures, and so just something a little bit different there might have helped. I think I don't know. It's tough to verbalize because it's all still pretty new. So I have to, I'm gonna have to go a few rounds with it in my head and figure out how that could have been better. But it just, for stuff that didn't feel old, it seems weird to be getting it again and calling it retro.
Yeah.
That Baroness figure was already a lot of people's just stock Baroness figure. Like that was the one. That was the ultimate. That was the one that was billed as Ultimate Storm Shadow. So yeah, sure, it's the one that people already had in their collection. That Snake Eyes has been lauded to and fro as the best Snake Eyes that they did in the modern line, and it was pretty late in the run. So again, it's all stuff that's pretty new and was pretty well received the first time around. If you are an in-package person, this line is fantastic for you because again, it really does evoke a lot of the images there, and it gives you a better product. It's not unlike what Marvel Legends was doing with those classic Marvel packages. Like there's one on my wall that I'm pointing at here that obviously no one else can see, but I've got the Spider-Man one, and it's just Spidey, and he's got his second head and his pizza slice in the classic 90s packaging there. And so that's kind of what I think that's what they were going for there, and mission accomplished, because that looks cool. But the stars, I think, were the vehicles. I did not expect I'd be saying that. Really, if anybody was giving the full yawn on a re-release of a His Tank and an Ostriker, it was me. But looks like they retooled those figures enough to make them interesting, to maybe make them the definitive look on those characters, on the Hiss Driver and on Crankcase. Those are pretty neat. I may have to check them out.
The price on those apparently on Walmart.com is $24.99.
Okay, yeah, that's no different. We had that from the old listings there.
And
so
if you think
pretty reasonable.
Well, and if a single figure is $12.99, that's an incredible value. So maybe I can buy a bunch of Hiss Drivers and sell off a bunch of Hiss Tanks, driverless Hiss Tanks on eBay. Hey, one thing I just thought of, they seem to have new heads, and if they did have tooling budget for new heads, that could mean a really good thing down the road. It looks like we are getting a Scarlet figure in the second wave. And Scarlet figures over the years have been cursed with terrible head sculpts. So, maybe we'll get a Scarlet that has a really quality new head on it in the next wave. We can hope. Like Roadblock and Destro have had good figures over and over throughout the years. But Scarlet's figures have always, I don't know that we've had the definitive Scarlet yet. So, certainly in the modern styling. So if we get a new Scarlet head, that may go a long way towards making, a really sought after exclusive.
they've never really had that definitive classic looking roadblock either. You know, I mean, so I mean, you know, for the next wave, I'm probably picking up, you know, if they do some retooling, you know, hopefully that fixed Scarlet we never got and that fixed roadblock we never got.
It'd be nice to see roadblock with a gigantic machine gun, like, you know, diehard fans want to see. So, and again, we understand why they can't do that in classified, but maybe that'll give it a little extra shine in the retro line.
Yeah, the retro line's definitely coming with the original weapons, you know, that those figures came with. So there's bullets.
Lots of pre-lost stuff. But it's an interesting note here. FSS Tiger Force Roadblock is the definitive head sculpt. So perhaps maybe they can get that one from the club. Who knows? I'm sure they'd be more than willing to rent that stuff out, considering the other lack of income they've got going on at Fun Pub right now.
I think if you call the club, you probably get a busy signal.
You know, they're on speed dial. But yeah, so again, hopefully this does well, and we know Wave 2 is planned. Hopefully it goes a little bit further than that. We get some characters that maybe need that treatment and could benefit from a getting put together with some of the better tooling that's out there. Like some of the early releases in that 25th line have not aged well.
I mean, some of them were bad from jump.
Yeah, true. Also true. You know, like a redo on Gung Ho. We got that in your run, Mark.
Yeah, with a tattoo on his neck, but
he had the right cover.
Yeah, he did. Right, I got that right. That was a fun day. Hey, John, why is the tattoo on his neck? I don't know what you're talking about. It's too late to fix it. Really?
You sure?
Cool.
He was really proud to be a Marine.
He's got
giant.
He's got.
Yeah, no offense to Cody Rhodes, but neck tattoos always a bad idea.
Yeah, it's never a good plan.
Never a good idea.
No. Facial tattoos in general, anything that involves getting in this, no, just don't.
Yeah.
You tattoo yourself up. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, they're not for me, but I can look at other people's tattoo work and say, hey, that's pretty awesome. But as far like facial tattoos, then no, just don't.
No.
Don't.
You're really limiting your job opportunity there.
That's it. Unless you're Bam Bam Bigelow.
Well,
keep things below the neck.
Like if your job is to be professional badass and you're Bam Bam Bigelow and you show up with a shaved head with flames tattooed into your head, I'm hiring that guy to be my professional badass.
Yeah.
So he was in the right line of work for that sort of thing. Bam Bam Bigelow. My goodness. A Bam Bam Bigelow shot. I was not expecting.
That's what I'm talking about. I got Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Garth Jorg.
Yeah.
All in today. Full service. Whatever.
Org. His brother Dane played here in St. Louis, so I have been corrected on that by Cardinal superfan. So, but yes, it's shout out for Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah, let's pour some out for Bam Bam. That's right.
Right. I would if I were outdoors at the curb, but I'm not doing that in my carpet. Enough problems in this apartment. So let's we'll turn over to our crowd, our gathering, and ask for questions from the audience. As Krusty the Clown said, "Oh, this bit never works." We'll give it a shot here. If anybody has any questions in the comment section.
I got to thank you for the 50th Gung Ho, which was awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, your little inside baseball. Of the two guys making decisions on Joe at the time, one of them said to double pack the Gung Ho Shadow Viper. And the other one, who will remain nameless, said, "No, everybody's going to want Shipwreck and Cobra Commander."
What?
Yeah. Remember how that brand new gung ho was kind of hard to find?
Yeah.
The one that was packed with the army builder, the pretty good Cobra Troop builder guy.
I had to mail away to a guy in California to get that.
That's it.
That makes my head hurt.
Yeah, double pack. I said, well, that's one with double pack. No.
I got that one. I got that one thanks to Dave Draper. Shout out to our friend at Toy World Order.
Shipwreck and Twinkle Toes Ruby Slippers Cobra Commander is what every kid wants this fall. Like, okay,
there's no place like home.
Yeah, apparently. And no, and ironically, they couldn't get people to take that Cobra Commander home.
Matt Rubin in the comments, don't tat your significant other anywhere. If you split, you'll have to try and cover that up. I'll go one step further. You tattoo your significant other's name on your person, your relationship is doomed.
It's an omen.
And let's do the wrestling trifecta. Remember when the Undertaker had Sarah on his neck?
Yeah.
I do.
I'm sure he got that done, and like he went home that night, and Sarah looked at him and said, "Oh, things were going so well."
Right?
Yeah.
Wasn't just a couple of years later, right, when he's getting that taken off.
But she was impressive in her win over Diamond Dallas Page, which I'm not still bitter about at all.
Right? No way.
What a garbage burial. Anyways, Hooded Cobra Commander 788 asks, if Mike has ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight, who do you think taught the devil how to dance? So that answers that. William J is trying to take credit for the Undertaker. We do not acknowledge William J. For his claim. That is Mark Webber's stake 100%.
We will acknowledge his hat though.
I didn't know we were anti William J.
Oh, we're not. We are dismissing his claim. He's not on the team stream, so we dismiss his claim to the Undertaker.
Yeah, but good peeps, right?
Oh yeah, good dude. We love William.
Right?
Yeah.
The definitive cosplay Duke of our community.
That's what I'm talking about. And if Joe were here, she'd bump one of us off and drop him right in, right?
Possibly. I mean, she did call it an airstrike
and a tornado.
Yeah,
William is
he's
her
got
little
a weather dominator.
She would probably keep him away from this team stream just simply because there's an airstrike coming.
Here's one for you.
Hello to Rob. So that's from William J as well.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a Mercer question for you, Mike.
Ooh.
What is the top figure you'd like to see in the classified line?
I think that is unanimously Mercer. No, Mercer is terrible. I wouldn't mind a Mercer figure because I don't think Mercer as a figure ever looked bad. Like the problem with Mercer isn't how he looks. The problem with Mercer is his story is nonsense. Even in a nonsense fantasy context,
right?
His story is nonsense. But who's the top figure I'd like to see in classified? Obviously, as a Beachhead guy, I want a 6-inch Beachhead that is official and awesome. And that has been rumored. We've been seeing that name pop up on some foreign toy sites and what have you for something for next year. So I've got my fingers crossed. Of all the stuff that we want to see actually be true, I'm really pulling hard for that one.
Damn, you just named your source.
Right? Yeah,
somebody's going to be happy about that.
Right. Oh, peanut gallery.
Since the original Beachhead is almost a perfect figure, right? So if they stay true to that, and they'll have to laser it up a little bit, fine. If they made him in classified, though, would you want him to come with a backup crotch?
I think that's almost mandatory. I think, or some kind of protective codpiece of some kind. Otherwise, you're just sending him into the fight completely unprepared.
It's always amusing when you get the Build-A-Figures crotch piece. You know, you're always like, yeah, that'll be just Beachheads.
I always love whoever the least popular Marvel Legend is in a line always gets the gigantic torso piece, right?
Yeah.
So it's always like Marvel's Boom Boom. Oh, and here's 90% of Onslaught, right? because they know they're making less of Boom Boom than Wolverine or Spider-Man or any of the main guys, and the really big stars, the Wolverines, they never get a piece at all, right?
No,
Like, nah, you're buying him anyway. But yeah, if you want
he gets the
Boom
ultimate
or
hit.
or Sunspot or something, like, yeah, you're getting I think there was a Jean Grey where she's like waif thin on one side of the packaging, and then there's like a 5-pound Wendigo chest or something on the other side. Like,
Well, what's
just
that one?
ridiculous.
What's that one they're pushing out? What, Sugar Man? Is that the character's name?
Oh, Sugar
Yeah.
Man.
Where
Where he's all torso?
basically a giant face with limbs. And like that's how the packaging is. Like the packaging is the hero just kind of doing this with this giant face next to her.
I can't wait for like the Harry Osborn figure that comes with MODOK's whole head, right? and Mike and I got a soft spot for MODOK, right? It's hard to go through life with a head this big.
Yeah. Look, if my head was going to be this big, I'd rather it levitated, frankly. But
Right.
One up on it.
I could use a flying hover chair to get my head around. That'd be helpful.
Oh,
So Mark Weber, if you had one figure to pick for classified right now, who would it be?
I mean, there's different ways to define it. My favorite Cobra is Interrogator. I think he's just amazing and cool, and I'd love to have that fig. But I know he's a C-level villain, even though he's a great figure. So I get it. Yeah, they just got to do troop builders for the line itself and for the fans. So I would go basic Cobra Trooper. Just give me a blue Cobra Trooper that people can buy the hell out of and sell it as a 5-pack on Pulse with, limited packaging, keeps the price down. People can army build. They can make a lot of money. Like, there's no downside to it. And the idea that the first troop builder we're getting, and as far as we know, the only one in year one, is a friggin' Red Ninja. Like, it's just bad planning. So just give me that.
I think that's a movie nod, though.
If it's a movie, maybe it's possible it got slid out of a movie wave, and that's kind of my pet theory, is that 3-figure wave 2 is a hustled replacement for a movie line they're putting on hiatus, and that's not a Hasbro dig. I wouldn't put out a movie line for a movie that's likely to get delayed either.
Oh yeah. But they've been burned once with that already.
What would happen? What's worse that could happen, right?
Mark Weber's doing this right now.
Yeah, exactly. What, a delayed G.I. Joe movie?
Yeah,
who knows?
At least this time they have a good reason.
Well, yeah, that's true. But if they have dedicated shelf space coming up, likely on an August 1st reset, they want to hold on to that. That's really valuable. So if Gung Ho was finished enough, and Cobra Commander is new, but they're slicing that turkey a bunch of different ways. If Red Ninja was a movie figure that they've reconfigured or pulled out, if it preserves shelf space, it's a really good idea. But the mistake of avoiding a troop builder figure in a line that's blessed with dozens of valid troop builder figures, I think it's a huge miss. And so that's what I would fix, both as a fan and as a retro marketer. Where's my Cobra Trooper?
Your pitch is polished and professional, Mark. You should look into working for Hasbro someday.
If only, you know what? Maybe I'll send them an application.
Rob, you're a Snake Eyes fan, so you have been serviced by the G.I. Joe line already. So now, who are we missing to complete your set? Because you have officially no complaints.
Yeah. God, there's so many. I mean, there's so many characters that I really like out of the line. Maybe the next biggest one I want to see, will go bad guy and say Zartan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, rumored for Wave 3.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal, Zach.
Along with Barbecue, who everyone's just dying to get.
Oh, well, he was my next guest. Yeah, he was my next choice.
Hooded Cobra Commander 788 asks, which retro vehicle are you the least surprised to get And why was it the Ostriker? Well, that
Right.
pretty well sums it up right there.
Well, I mean,
You know we're getting the shark next, right?
the truth of it is there's hardly any vehicle tooling
Yeah.
left. Almost
Yeah.
all of it's gone. So you've seen almost every good vehicle that still is possible to do without cutting new steel. The one holdout and one that I was working for when I was there was the Hammer. The Hammer Humvee is a great vehicle, and we haven't seen it in quite some time. You know, if we say 2005 or whatever is a long time, but that's a really good vehicle and big enough. Yeah, yeah. Well, they redid it somehow, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they rework it?
Well, it came with those T-crotch guys that they relaunched the line with.
Yeah, it was part of the first wave of the Joe versus Cobra. Yeah.
Same with heavy duty. Still that heavy duty was garbage, but it was still cool even in that line.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those vehicles that's oversized enough from way back that modern 4-inch figures fit in it pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed that we haven't seen that yet. That was coming. That was planned when I was working on Joe, but we never quite got there. If you think a Hammer versus Rattler for the last hard to find piece of the mass device would have been a cool box set. Just,
Aiming big there, huh?
Right.
Wow,
and with a couple of soft plastic tow cables that might have fit on your old Mauler and Wolverine, that kind of stuff.
I mean, soft plastic tow cables. God forbid.
Right. I mean,
as opposed to the hard plastic ones that shrank.
And broke, right?
Yeah.
But they wouldn't cost anything to make those, and yet they'd be valuable as an accessory sold separately if you wanted to piece it out, and they'd be cool for the diehard fans, and that's who was buying Joe when I was involved. So there you go. There's a little inside. It's baseball again. It's inside baseball.
we kind of specialize in that sort of thing.
How big was the box going to be for a Rattler and Hammer 2-pack?
I mean, it was going to be. Remember the Comic-Con 2-pack of the time that came with the Rattler or the Sky Striker versus it was like that. It was Sky Striker versus the Cobra Scythe Sky Striker versus the G.I. Joe, railgun.
The Chimera, yeah.
The Chimera, yeah. So that was what Toys R Us was interested in at the time, but they eventually grew tired of that concept because I wasn't involved in that decision, but I always thought that solo packed vehicles, they would have sold a lot more than forcing you to drop $80 on a vehicle 2-pack when maybe you only wanted a bunch of HISS tanks or something like that. So,
man, I would have loved it if they just snuck out Steeler on his own. Because the Steeler figure was the thing I wanted out of that the most.
Yeah, I'm a big Steeler fan, so I was a fan of that too. So,
Ed Bataluca has we call him Puggles. He has a comment. I have PTSD from the Hammer. That was the vehicle Cool Breeze was died in. That's a quote. So that's part of why a lot of fans like the Hammer.
Yeah.
Anyways, or Cool Breeze, designed to be an elaborate in-joke and killed off in his one issue. Terrible.
Just like we'll bury him next to Mangler.
Right.
Yeah. The G.I. Joe equivalent of a red shirt.
That's it.
For real, man. Just straight up camo.
This guy doesn't have a figure. Oh.
Yeah. Don't worry about that, kids. Just don't worry about it. So Matt Rubin asks, how many waves of the retro line will we get before we get accessory packs? And I would say however many waves of the retro line that there are.
All of them, yeah.
All of them, yes. That will be how many are released. I don't think they're going back to accessory packs unless... I mean, accessory packs are the sign that your line is just ungodly successful, right?
Yeah.
Or it's trying to be supplemental to something else. Mm-hmm. So G.I. Joe is Hasbro's never going to let G.I. Joe be supplemental to something else. BBI and Leonard and all that. They have in the past done accessory packs to try and get you to pick those up to play with you can work them in with your G.I. Joes, right? Mm-hmm. Hasbro's never going to do that for G.I. Joe to be supplemental to something else. But at the same time, we're not going to see those unless we just go out of our minds crazy with G.I. Joe retro line. And I don't see that coming in a Walmart exclusive.
No. But if you're dying for accessory packs, Bobby Vala and the Action Force can help you out.
That's right. They have excellent real-world style weapons. Marauder Task Force, or Marauder Gun Runners, rather, is similar. They've got great 1/12 6-inch scale weapons as well. So great stuff there from both of them. If you don't like the future weapons in the classified line, or if you do like them and they're just warped. It's not a bad rifle. I just wish it shot straight.
Could you? I mean, some people use warm water to help, redo a play, or simpler, just jam it up in between his chest and his stomach and bend him. Maybe that's what that's for. Yeah,
you can kind of ratchet him. Anyway, we're enabling him by doing that. I got to cut that out.
Yeah.
But last question: do you think we'll see the Mobile Command Center re-released? And that is also from Matt Rubin. No, I do not.
I mean, unless they HasLab it, that's possible.
Possible, but yeah.
They still have that tooling though, probably, right?
Like if they're gonna, if you're gonna HasLab a humongous G.I. Joe vehicle, I'd rather it not be the Mobile Command Center.
Yeah, I looked into that back in the day, and the Mobile Command Center, which they re-released in like what, 03 maybe 04?
They released it. I think it was part of like Valor versus Venom or something.
Yeah, I mean,
somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's funny that 16 years ago seems recent, but I look into it, and because of the factory codes on the back, the tooling was in a weird place like Spain or Italy, somewhere like ridiculous weird. And so I pitched around with the engineering staff, and I'm like, hey, I've never heard of tooling being loaned out here. Do you think we could get it back? And the guy laughed at me. No. So there you go.
It's El Conquistador now.
It's buried in Italy now, apparently. So no, I don't think we're getting that again. Yeah.
We're right up on about an hour. We're going a little over here, but so we'll give this the last round here. Rack time, Rob. You're the unofficial guest, even though you're technically part of the staff. Your last thoughts.
Said nicest thing I think about what the retro line is going to be is we're not going to get gigantic, ugly retro collection stickers all over the nice G.I. Joe artwork.
Good call, Mark Weber.
I think what we saw today was fine. I'm hopeful that Walmart can help with the execution and the fulfillment of it, so it isn't a nightmare for fans to get it. I just think a little more foresight and attention to how the information was released would have made it a whole lot smoother for Hasbro.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I too, Walmart is, for better or for worse, the largest toy retailer in the U.S. So having a relationship there is a good thing. Let's hope that it turns into a more prosperous run for G.I. Joe than we've seen in recent years. Again, classified sales so far have been astronomical, so that's a good sign. Seems like there's a lot of legs on Joe this time, and let's hope they can help keep it going. So
that's Mike, I just want to say that's a really important point that I think we lose is we have Joe product in Walmart and Target, and following the last movie, they were done with G.I. Joe. Yeah, so that's a really, really positive step for all fans of the brand. And as much as we complain about it, we're all big fans of the brand. So, Hasbro has made some really positive steps for the G.I. Joe brand in a year where what it was leading to, the movie, has been pulled out from under them. So, it's a good time, especially compared to recent history. It's a good time to be a G.I. Joe fan.
Yeah. Thank you to the current Hasbro team, because obviously these are terrible circumstances to be working in. But the momentum is still there. Like there's still a push there. Somebody at Hasbro likes Joe again and is insisting to see this through to the end, and that's good. That's not something that we've we've been blessed with in recent years.
Hey, quick comment before we go. Hooded Cobra Commander 788, our friend, has posted, how about a Sky Striker to coincide with the release of the new Top Gun movie?
I mean, the last Sky Striker didn't really sell. So
Yeah. About to say you can probably still get them at Ross.
and it was a really good toy. So
Yeah.
He also asked about a buzz bore at a 6-inch scale. I think that's where they want to play.
Yeah.
When they go to vehicles, we're not talking even a vamp. We're talking about Ram motorcycles, Trouble Bubbles. I think they can play in that area. I think Joe fans will drop $30-$40 for.
I think he's talking.
But,
you know, like retro collection though for that Sky Striker. That could be a possibility, considering how long it's going to take to get.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
They've already done a Transformer.
Oh, and let's give a shout out to Mark Maha, who was running the live stream today for Hasbro Pulse, who's been at Hasbro forever, is a great guy, and took time out from filming Gangs of New York 2 to.
I thought that game is on point.
I thought that was his Mad Hatter cosplay from the old Batman TV show. But.
Yeah, he's going to be Big Billy Busick for Halloween, so that's a good thing too.
Big Bully Busick. Oh my God, right? We got to go on that one.
But
curiously enough, he's got Crankcase's mustache.
Right. Yeah. All joking aside, Mark Maha's a brilliant designer and an artistic genius. So for him to be involved on Joe is a really good thing. Primarily a Transformers guy, so the Joe universe may not know him that well, but he's good peeps. So mustache aside,
mustache included.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite guys that I worked with there, and so having him involved with Joe is a very good thing.
Excellent. And on that note, we will wrap it up for today. Thank you for spending part of your Friday morning with us. We know you sat through a lot of Hasbro stuff, and now you sat through even more from us. But we're thrilled to have you. Be sure to stay tuned to our channel. Like, share, and subscribe, as we said earlier. Just a reminder, we will now the questions about anyways, we'll move on from that. But we are still in a pandemic, folks. So if we have one thing to say, it's make the choice to keep yourself and the people around you safe. Stay home where you can. Wear a mask when you have to go out, and be safe out there. Be kind. Take care of one another. From What's on Joe Mind, I'm Mike. For the honcho Mark Weber, and for Rack Time Robbie Rosari. Have a great rest of the day.